foolish of you to think that I would just disappear.
My love, the investigator returns. We'll continue our discussion later. Apologies. Recent events have been overwhelming, to say the least. I needed some fresh air, and my dear Uriel saw fit to join me. Is there anything I can help you with? No, I was not. Lady Weatherleah was kind enough to let me live on the estate when Uriel went off to fight, but I often spend my mornings walking through the woods. A ritual that has helped ever since Uriel's death. Absence, I mean. Otho Florius, the gardener, was the one who found her. He was the only one home at the time. Ever since I fired that horrible cook, Otho's been the only remaining staff member tending to the estate. Yes, I caught Edric snooping around my private quarters. Terrible thing, having one's privacy encroached upon. I told him to never return or I'd have Betu chase him out. I admit, I did enjoy striking fear into that sad little man. Well enough. He's known me since my courtship years with Uriel. He causes his fair share of mischief, but Lady Weatherleah could never bring herself to get rid of him. After all, Betu was her last connection to Uriel. The dog has a penchant for stealing what isn't his. I usually ask our gardener to wrangle him, but as you can see, he hasn't done a very good job. Of course, now that Lady Weatherleah has passed, we can consider alternatives.
Go on then, ask me how I returned. It's the only question anyone seems to have for me. Uriel Weatherleah, back from the dead. It's laughable. 6 years ago, I left to fight in Varen's revolt. I was gravely wounded and left for dead, and would have died, had a caravan of Khajiit not stumbled upon me and taken pity. The Khajiit could heal my wounds, but not my memories. They were lost. Every single one. I rode with the caravan until I was fully healed. It wasn't until we rode into Skingrad that the first slivers of my past began to return. By the time I remembered my name and where I lived, it was too late. Mother was dead. Some things, yes, but there are still heavy clouds. For instance, it's clear Mother's riddle was meant for me, but I can't make sense of it. I can only hope your talented investigative skills solve this mystery. I fear Ithelia has merely succumbed to her own grief, chasing phantasms with bloody daggers. My mother was a wonderful woman who died a simple death. It is sad, but common. You come to understand this when you've been to war. From what I've been told, my mother lived her final years grieving in isolation. My dear wife Pelena did her best to keep her company, but my mother had no friends or visitors. Aside from the hired help, of course. All this talk of suspects when the woman simply fell. Though I suppose Thunderboots would not be here if the death weren't suspicious. Speak with the staff yourself if you see fit.
The gardener found Lady Weatherleah's body. We should speak to him next.
There you go, Betu. Baths aren't so bad. Apologies for Betu's earlier mischief. I hope he didn't damage the will. He's normally better behaved, but the lady's passing has certainly got him on edge. Yes, I had taken over kitchen duties while Edric was away. I was restocking the pantry after returning from the market when I heard a loud crashing noise from the library. I thought Betu might have knocked something over in the library, but when I went to check, the door was blocked by something heavy. By the time I wedged myself through, it was too late. Yes, she was lying on the floor, motionless. One of the ladders had fallen and there were books scattered all around. I can take you to see the library. Everything is as I found it. No. Lady Weatherleah was the only one in the library. Which is odd, now that I think about it. Betu is usually plastered to the lady's side, but he wasn't in the library. He was shut up in Pelena's room. I wonder why she would have put him there. Well, Pelena keeps going on about Daedric, our cook. She says he was acting suspiciously leading up to her death. But for what it's worth, I find him to be kind. He may be able to shed more light on that situation himself.
You won't learn anything from those scheming charlatans, that's for sure. Lost memories, please. Children can weave better stories than that drivel. I'll say it again, stranger. You should leave this place. Nothing but rotten memories. No. Lady Pelena had all but run me out by then. Lady Weatherleah couldn't bring herself to fire me, but I thought some time away would do us all some good. Worst decision of my life, I tell you that. It's my own fault, honestly. Something always felt off to me about Lady Pelena. She never seemed too torn up about Uriel's death. I was convinced she was hiding something, but turns out my chef's paunch doesn't make for being stealthy. She caught me going through her things. A terrible thing, I know, but I don't regret it. Some things deserve to be brought to light, you'll see.
Let us investigate the library. The library is to the left. Your other left. We must study the scene carefully. Look for anything out of place. You are certain this is where you found her body?
Yes. I'll never forget the sight of her lying there.
Quite the mess for a simple fall, don't you think? Certainly a ladder couldn't have caused this much damage to the statue. Was that window already broken?
No. It was definitely intact before Lady Weatherleah's death.
Something has broken the glass. Perhaps this was an escape route. Music has seen enough. No blood, a broken window, and a fractured statue with no explanation as to how it was damaged. Music feels that there is something just out of reach of this one's claws. But what could it be? The details don't add up. Investigations always require some stretch of the imagination, but to make sense of this crime scene would be to dream up a work of fantasy. Perhaps the fantasy is the clue. Only a panicked hand could make such messy brushstrokes. Could Otho's arrival from the market have startled the suspect, leading them to block the door and escape out of the broken window? But then why create such an elaborate scene? A fall is simple enough, a tidy portrait. We should continue to investigate this broken window. Perhaps we can find a trail on the other side.
I would never hurt Lady Weatherleah.
Until the investigation is complete, everyone is a suspect. Beto, what is he sniffing? Beto found a key. And look, it seems Beto wants us to follow him. Moon Sabath? Is that Daedric?
Let it sit with you. Novel erudition always makes me heady.
A confession, and a flowery one at that. Mizik isn't sure what to make of this. Tea. This one smells ginger, hibiscus, and something else. Something sickly. Daedric's tankard. There seems to be a suspicious residue inside. So this is the memorial Lady Weatherleah built for her son. Mizik's snout wrinkles at the stench of both fresh and old death. Betu led us to the memorial of the lost Uriel Weatherleah, and now we find the cook freshly poisoned. Let this one see the confession letter. Why would Daedric lead us to Uriel's memorial and then kill himself? And earlier, the cook warned us of some mysterious danger. Could he have met the fate he was trying to save us from? Too many bodies and cryptic messages for this one's liking. The note says that Daedric served Lady Weatherleah poisoned tea the day she died, but the cook had already left the grounds. Otho confirmed that himself. And this letter says that Pelena was present for tea, but she said she was out all morning. A good question, but the memorial may be a greater clue. Lady Weatherleah had gone to great lengths to find her son, but was certain of his death to raise this memorial. Our Uriel may well be an impostor, but do not give away our upper hand. We know the real Uriel went to fight in Varen's revolt, and that Lady Weatherleah spent a fortune to find his body. We also know from the note in the lady's study that Pelena was against looking into his death. Yes, our masquerading rogue. The cook was certain that he was an impostor, but what about the others? Aquilia has her suspicions, but shouldn't Pelena have known? Why hasn't she raised alarm bells and told the others? And he was the only one who could have ended the impostor's ruse. But then there is Daedric's confession. Could it be a forgery to throw us off the trail, or a convenient end to our investigation? I sense another hasty painting is before us. We should question the impostor, but we mustn't let on that we know his gambit. I also have my reservations about the once and again widowed Pelena. If anyone else was aware of his ruse, it would be her. So why hasn't she said anything? Steady yourself as we approach the impostor, Uriel. This ruse may not be his only crime. It's increasingly likely that he killed Daedric to keep his secret. We know the real Uriel went to fight in Varen's revolt, and that Lady Weatherleah spent a fortune to find his body.
What is with all the questions, cousin? Aren't you happy to see me?
There's our impostor. Talk to him, friend.
I'll remain here until my aunt's affairs are resolved. I won't rest easy until I know justice has been brought to her killer.
Our intrepid investigators! Pelena and I were just arguing over what to do with my mother's estate. Marriage squabbles. Have you made progress with that mysterious riddle? I can fetch her if you'd like. She just went into the kitchen. The cook, you say? Well, as close as any young heir is with their staff. Now that I think about it, I always did find him strange. Always one for the shadows. I'm glad Pelena saw fit to fire him. I only wish I were here to do it myself. Dead? What a ghastly turn of events! Hold on. Another memory is coming back to me. Yes. The cook always had a secret love for my mother. Was it grief that led him to kill himself? It must have been. You don't think he also killed Mother? Oh, yes, of course. No, I must have gotten ahead of myself. Yes, that's it. All this death, I thought I left it behind on the battlefield, but it seems to have followed me home. Whether murderer or murderee, my heart goes out to Edric.
Thank you, Uriel. That's all. We should speak to Pelena next
There's
round.
been another murder? The killer could come for any one of us next.
Nonsense. It's clear Edric was a troubled man who killed Lady Weatherleah and took his own life.
Maybe so. But I'm not leaving the room.
Oh, Mizik, do you have updates on your investigation? Mizik, traveler, how fares the investigation? With so much still left to speculation, I've found myself wandering the grounds, trying to keep my hands busy. I hope to have things settled soon, for all our sakes. Edric? A murderer? I'm astonished. I guess I was right to be suspicious of him, but now I wish I'd had him jailed when I could have. What a travesty. At least now we have some closure, and can focus on the missing fortune. Well, the lady and I had intended to meet that morning, but it slipped my mind. If the tea was poisoned, wouldn't that make Otho the suspect? With Edric away, he would have been the one to brew the tea for Lady Weatherleah. I haven't the expertise, of course, to make such an accusation. But I do wonder. Otho and Edric have worked the estate for ages. Could they have felt entitled to a cut of the fortune? Useless speculation, perhaps, but the mind does wander.
Thank you, Pelena. We will investigate all lingering threads. Traveler, let's speak with the gardener next.